Hello, I am Dr. Aaron Lewis, and I'm sitting here with an amazing author, the author of The Science of Empowerment, Laura Brennan Ballet.
Hello.
And you see her, she's right there. And so we kind of just wanted to have another conversation um, that I feel would be beneficial. And so I wanted to kind of hear what she had to say. And I'm going to be actually reading a part of her book to talk about a lot of what we're dealing with right now, even in our society, with regards to the tension that's present in society between the races, and just things that are going on with regards to hate and and misunderstanding of people, the maltreatment of human beings. And so before I get into it, because I really want to hear from her, let me just read this. It says, there is no time for hatred, and this is from The Science of Empowerment. There's no time for hatred, frustration, or narrow-mindedness, as these negative emotions do absolutely nothing. And that means nothing positive.
Right.
This mindset adds no reference point, no happiness, no value, and therefore there is no rationale to continue on this trajectory of underdeveloped activity. I love that. Tell me what you. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. That's like 10 days worth of talking.
It is.
Tell me what you meant by that.
But when you read it out loud, if we could inject that small verse into leadership, maybe that would spark a different outcome.
Right.
How many people, if you gave them the tools or the skills or the knowledge towards a pathway out of what we all are experiencing, how many would be able to get up in front of the masses and say, I refuse to travel on that pathway. I'm going to stay in stagnation. I am going to rule over you in that stagnation. And you are all going to follow me, which is what's happening. Right. So when you read that verse, it then falls upon each individual to not follow the mass programming, which is what we are doing.
Yeah, that's big. When you talk about programming, there are so many times that in society, our response to whatever, right? I don't even want to get into specifics, but whatever it is, our mass response makes me feel like we are hypnotized and that we are running on somebody's program, like The Matrix. Do you remember that movie,
Yes,
The Matrix?
absolutely. We all love The Matrix.
Yeah, and it's like, the blue pill, the red pill.
Yeah.
It's weird to me when I see the programming that even if we talk about race, right? Racism is really a program.
That's
right?
all it is.
It's a program. It's like software, and you
That's
put it
all
in
it
someone, and they feel that they have to play that out, even if they
yes.
don't understand why they're playing it out. And at the end of the day, if you ask them why they played it out, well, because my father played it out,
Right.
because my mother played it out, right? They can't really give a me personal accountability answer for that. And so when you talked about the programming, it's interesting. Yeah. And so tell me what you mean by leadership, though, because that's a pretty juicy spot. Right. You said that if the leadership can take the reins and help to change this, what does that look like?
So we talk about this. I really truly believe leadership starts in the home.
Wow.
Each individual home. Leadership of myself, leadership of my partner,
right.
Leadership of my children. It starts there. We have to fundamentally change the way in how we go about choosing partnerships, relationships, and how we are going to bring our children up. If we, as adults or as leaders in the community, again, stay attached, we talked about this, linked in to the mass programming, it's just this repetitive, negative experience. You and I were talking about this 400 years and we're still dealing with the same issue and nothing is changing.
It's kind of sad that we don't see the power within us to stop this. I've been coined and known for always talking about the 1% of the 1%, that controls the narrative of how we behave in society. That's really scary because, let's talk about race, right? I've said this a million times that racism is an institution that is an economic institution.
Yeah, it's designed to keep everything in play. And we all have heard this. There's so many cliches out in the world, one group of people wants to keep the other group down. So let's say all of it's true. Let's say there are powers in place to keep empowerment at bay.
Right.
So now let's challenge the listeners. Forget that. That's just a thought. It's just a program.
Right.
As I wrote in the book, become an advanced human thinker. Think for yourself.
Right.
And if you can't, because you're surrounded by the same constriction, watch a podcast, read a book, go to the
100%,
library,
yeah.
take a walk in
something
nature.
different.
I don't care. Even if your surroundings are really hard right now and challenging, you can change it. Get up in the morning before everyone else, check out the blue sky, look at the clouds, find a tree, listen to a bird, watch a squirrel. It sounds so mundane. You have to physically change your environment. And if you cannot change your physical environment, change the environment in your mind. Don't let anyone tell you to be part of something that you fundamentally and instinctively know isn't changing anything.
Well, see, when we talk about the 1% of the 1% that benefit financially from us hating one another, from us
right, being at odds. Yeah.
With one, and I've always told people that I said, racism is just like a company, right? But you don't profit from it, but somebody does. And so why continue allow them to profit from it?
So let's just take that then again. Let's say whoever's watching, you have a job and you have this creative energy and you have this drive and you have goals and you have dreams,
right.
But you're being held down because, and fill in those blanks, maybe you're not as educated as someone else or as
Right.
wealthy or whatever their reasoning is.
Yeah.
Do you honestly think this is your lot in life? That you cannot think for yourself, that you cannot move for yourself, that you cannot readjust, recalibrate what is going on in the world? You and I do not partake in the mass messaging. Why?
Not a bit.
Okay, what is different than us about you? Nothing. Our willingness to not become a sheep,
Yeah.
to not become herded,
Yeah.
to go outside, find that hole in the matrix
And then
and
it's
shoot
awareness,
through
right?
it.
It's still and we've discussed this evolution, right? Being evolved, understanding that it's better than this. I mean, my fighting you, my being mad at you, how does it benefit you? How does it benefit me?
It does
At
nothing.
the end of the day, it's negative, it's disempowering, and so we have to. And I love how you said it. When you talk about a trajectory, it's a course. We have to get on a new course.
Yes.
But getting on a new course really means getting off the old course.
And don't feel stuck. This is not about going from A to Z like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
A to B plus to B minus.
I like that.
That's what you do.
Baby steps.
Baby, and there's a reason why babies just walk and they fall, and they hit their head, they bump their elbow, they giggle, they laugh, they roll, they get back up. There's something in them. They absolutely know they are not meant to crawl.
Yeah.
Somewhere along our life, we allow someone
That's
to
deep.
tell
That's
us
powerful.
we are
We're
supposed to crawl.
That's
Way.
Hear that? We
Yes.
were not meant to crawl.
No, not
Come on,
crawl
man.
in emotion, not
Oh,
crawl
my
in
goodness,
experience,
wow.
not crawl in negative relationships. You are not meant to crawl. I say it all the time, and I will say it probably every time we talk. It's coded in our DNA. We are geniuses.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are meant to fly and explore and experience the cosmos. Stop letting outside negative programming influence your individualization.
Right.
Stop.
That's awesome. And even when you think about a little kid, right? When that little kid is learning, little baby is learning to walk, how many times do you give them to fall down and get back up before you say, nope, you're never gonna ever try again. You're
Never.
done right? You're gonna keep allowing that baby
Yes.
to fall and get back up, fall and get back up. Why? Because it's not normal for that baby to crawl forever.
Right.
So why have we normalized that behavior for ourselves.
And we
right?
do. And we crawl in, we talked about this, the undereducation of the population. We crawl in our advancement. Me, I am like Evel Knievel going over the Grand Canyon with my education. However I can. I did not go to college.
Right.
I'm not some, MIT grad girl here.
Right.
But I can connect to the energy of new knowledge. I can connect to the energy of empowering myself, leaving a legacy, changing the world in my own unique way. That's what we want for everyone else. I shouldn't say, it's okay to join, I think, in a collective grouping where something of positivity is taking place.
Right.
You have to have the ability to step back before you engage and ask of yourself, what is my intention? What am I going to contribute? What am I going to do personally to shift the dynamics of what's already been in place? And if you don't have a clear answer, don't engage. Spend that time getting clarity for yourself. Otherwise, it's an unauthentic mass movement. And like you said, we keep reprogramming and looping the same information, the same behavior, the same interaction, and there's not a lot of change going on.
But then let's say this before we wrap up. What about the person that says, well, that's you, Laura. I mean, you got all these special powers. You got all this special ability. You grew up in this special, universe,
which I didn't.
And so you can do that. It's easy for you. You never had anything to overcome. You never had challenges. Like there are people that would say that and say,
yes.
well, then how do I do that? How do I make that contribution to life itself and make life better for me and those around me? Because it seems like you got this thing. You can talk. You know what I'm saying? You write.
Right.
So you got this. I don't have this. What do you say to them?
So I understand because I've had a lot of adversity. I've had a lot of issues. I don't go into any of my family's business,
Right.
but I didn't have it easy on any level in any way, which is why I can write something like The Science of Empowerment.
So it's a living testimony for you.
I took, whether it was abandonment, alcoholism,
Wow.
Financial issues, whatever my personal journey coming up was, trust me, it wasn't all perfect.
Wow.
I took those adversities and asked myself, I can stay here or I can clear a new path and get away from here. I told you real quick, my very first experience of going into New York City on the highway, on the school bus, seeing all the projects. I had no idea what a project was, and I certainly didn't know who was in there. All I knew is I said to myself, if that were me living in the box, I would find a way out. Everyone can find a way out.
Yeah.
And we have so many examples of people that are really up against some very real, damaging, challenging hardships. Find a way, and I'm always going to go back to use the mind, create a pathway out, seek someone that can help you, seek within yourself. It's all doable. No matter, you can get out.
Right,
and I don't
right,
want
right.
you to stay in there. And please never think that I watched the Michael Jordan documentary, shout out to his unbelievable God-given talent and the hard work. You watch a documentary, he was up against stuff. Okay, he just isn't sitting up there all riding high at the beginning.
Yeah, no, not at all.
He had such a connection to the power in his mind that nothing was going to get in his way. It's inside all of us. It just is.
He made a choice. I mean, you heard
Yes.
it. You heard it from Laura. She, that we're not meant to crawl. We're all meant to run fast like Usain Bolt. You know what I'm saying? We're all meant to be champions, but we have
Yes.
to know that that's a possibility for us. And from what you said all throughout the book, it's a matter of rewiring the mind.
Absolutely.
Rewiring the mind.
So hopefully we can leave you with that today. You
Yeah.
have options, and the one option is read The Science of Empowerment.
Absolutely.
There are 1,000 pathways and gateways and doorways in that book that will spark something in you. I really can wholeheartedly promise you that. It's a point of beginning for you to become a self-thinker.
Absolutely. There's 1,000 things that can initiate change for you, but if you just got one of them,
Yeah.
it'll be worth the book 1,000 times over.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.